Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome today's guest speaker, Miss Cyndi Lauper.
I would like to introduce my friend and colleague, Miss Reiko Yakawa. I'm so sorry. I'm nervous. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay. It's showtime. Thank you very much to be here, ladies and gentlemen. On my right-hand side, we have Miss Wakaba Suzuki, our interpreter. We have Miss Reiko Yukawa, a great name in Japanese music.
Yes.
She's a musician, a disc jockey, a music critic, a friend of our guest, Cyndi Lauper. She leads the Women 1000 Environmental Group, and she's a counselor and advisor to the Japanese Environmental Agency. On my left is my dear secretary of the board of the press club, Drini Kakuchi. And of course, our guest is Cyndi Lauper. She has genes from Switzerland, from Sicily, and from other places. So, being Swiss, I'm very happy. Cyndi Lauper is so unusual that 1 year ago, on March 11, she was 10 minutes away from landing with her band at Narita Airport when the earthquake and the tsunami hit Japan. They decided to stay when other entertainers, embassies, including our embassy, bankers, businessmen, were fleeing the apocalypse, which so far didn't happen. Cyndi Lauper completed her tour in Japan throughout the aftershocks, the explosions in the Fukushima nuclear plant, an accident which could have been avoided without the cozy ties between the industry and the government. According to our colleagues of the New York Times today, Martin Faulkner and Hiroko Tabuchi, please read their articles published today, also in the Herald Tribune. I have to make some advertisement for our colleagues also. Cyndi Lauper has returned to Japan with her band to commemorate the first anniversary of the tsunami, the earthquake, and the nuclear accident. She's a singer, a songwriter, an actress, and lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender activist. She's also a human rights activist. She achieved success in the mid-1980s with the release of the album She's So Unusual. She became the first female singer to have 4 top 5 singles released from one album. The number 1 single, time after time, became some of the most important number 1 singles ever released in America. Her latest album, acclaimed album, is called, I think, Memphis Blues, which was Billboard's biggest selling blues album of 2010. You correct me, Miss Lauper, or Madame or Mademoiselle.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was gonna. That's all right. It's all good. They know who I am. You don't have to do all that. That's good.
Okay, I stop here. Cyndi Lauper.
Okay. I don't know how this thing goes because I've never been to one of these before, but I know that it was asked of me, so I figured I'd see what it was all about. How you doing? Okay. As George was telling you, yeah, we stayed because I have a long history with this country. I've been coming here since 1983 and working side by side my Japanese colleagues for all the long hours that we work, which, everybody always says it's not that glamorous. Really and truly, it's like a 14, 15, sometimes 18-hour day. And right next to me are the people who are not in the spotlight but work just as hard. So I got to know them, and I got to love them. And as I worked here, the first time I sang True Colors, and to a large audience, was Japan. And when they sang it back to me, it was the first time I heard it sung back to me. And I just remember the accent was so awesome. I got one too, But luckily, a lot of people in this country have a different one too. Never mind. The interpreter, right. Gomenasai. Oh, my God. Right, I forgot we're doing that like this. They said foreign. Right, good. Sorry, good. Wakabasimasen.
私はこの国ですごく長い歴史をもうすでに皆さんと共有しているんですけれども、1983年から日本ではお仕事させていただいてまして、大丈夫ということなので弾きます。
Oh. So then if it's a long story, it's okay? All right. The long and the short of it is, I have no political agenda. I just want to say to the world, please don't forget about Japan. It was very traumatic. I have friends. I have a friend who lives in Fukushima. She was in the earthquake for 10 minutes straight. When she tries to explain to me, everybody says, "Gambate." Yeah, okay. But it's really hard because we're people, we're humans, and she's still very shook up. And she didn't have a job. A lot of people don't have jobs right now. And it's one thing to say, okay, relocate. But if you don't have a job, it's hard to pick up and go, But in America, we had the same thing in New Orleans. They were saying, the levees are going to break. Everybody evacuate. Go someplace else. Where were they going to go? They were poor. They had no place to go. Maybe in Fukushima and in the Sendai area, maybe they just couldn't get out quick enough. And it is a big tragedy. But everybody is trying to move forward. And I just I wanted to say, hey, don't forget about Japan, because Japan, in my eyes, during the 80s and the 90s, was always there in a crisis. So now it's their crisis. I mean, there's a lot of terrible things that are happening all over the world. But everybody's trying to get back up on their feet again. And just don't forget about them. Send them your love. If you got friends there, stay in touch. That's what helps people to know that you're there for them. I stayed because it was a good distraction. Because maybe for 70, 80 minutes, everybody get together and sing. Because I think music is healing. And maybe they forgot about it for just a little bit and felt better. And then go back and maybe it's not so hard. Music always helped me, so maybe I'm just passing it along. But I just want to remind you that it really was bad. And as the big mass floats towards my country, maybe people understand on what kind of level what happened was, if you know what I mean. That's all. I'm not running for president or anything. I'm just a rock and roller, I always thought rock could save the world. Rock and roll could save the world. I still come from that. That's how I grew up. So I think, in the spirit of Live Aid and all the things that music did and the Beatles and what they taught us and John and Yoko, hey, I think we should just keep passing it along and understand that, and don't forget about your friends. If you got friends, call them, invite them over, be together. It's important, Do you want to say something, Reiko? Because this is the guru of rock music here in Japan. She walked me through. So.
Well, I just want to explain why I'm here, but my English is very, how do I say,
awesome.
Not enough.
Oh, okay.
So she's here for me, I guess. But let me speak short. shortly. Why I'm here is just as an observer to explain you where she's been this time. She went to Sendai Prefecture, but especially she visited some certain places like elementary school where maybe you can explain to them much perfect English, like where the elementary school didn't had much victims, but these children went up to the third floor. Yes, and then they had to spend 3 days in that
on the roof.
Yes, up in the roof.
Yeah, up on the roof, and that school was very well known as they wrote SOS.
Yeah.
Up on the roof.
They put a sign on the roof.
And also she went to a music store where tsunami covered many instruments over there, and especially now one piano became very famous as Piako. They named as piano as Piako. And then yesterday she told me that she wants to buy some those pianos covered by tsunami, but now they're trying to reborn them again. And then she wants to donate this piano to some schools over there. And also she went to one temple, Saikoji. Saikoji is 檀家さんってなんて言うんでしょうね。檀家
Sorry, I'm not really into the religion, but
It's a Buddhist temple.
Yeah, Buddhist temple,
Buddhist
but
It is of a certain sect of Buddhism. The Dalai Lama, His Holiness, went there. And actually, if I may, when we were there,
And you saw that
Yeah.
pictures of the people who...
there were, when you go to a devastated place, you know how you feel? Devastated, honestly. It rips your heart out. I went into the temple, and there's tables of bags. And some of the bags are this big. And those are the bags that nobody claimed because they were lost too. They were all cremations waiting for somebody to claim them. Some were whole families. Some, the priest told me, oh, I knew that guy. He was as old as my son. And I thought, listen, tragedy strikes everyone, but this was a mass level. This was like whole towns. And there was one school we passed where they put the kids up on the top floor and the parents were on the bottom, and they were killed. They were drowned, washed away. It was very intense. And yeah, I saw this little piano shop with this Obachan and Grandma and Grandpa kind of shop. And the older gentleman had, he refurbished the piano piece by piece. And that was the piano that the famous singer and musician in Japan had bought. It was my idea, maybe. I only bought like a little melodica there. But the thing is I was thinking, well, what you need is commerce to get started again. In that town, the lumber yard was open. Not the lumber yard, the paper mill. The paper mill had reopened. That's a great thing because people can start to work. I don't know what they're going to do about the fact that the sea level is now, it's even lower. The land is lower. So now they have to try and build on the mountains, which means they're going to level some mountains and try and build up there. But, people are still a little, I would be emotionally a bit crippled, right, if I had to live through that, I think. And anyway, it was my idea maybe to buy a piano and donate it to the school to keep the guy working and then to get the kids into the music so that the music could, they could grow with the music. I also asked Reiko if I could bring a cherry blossom tree because cherry blossoms bloom in the spring and they grow. And maybe the trees will grow with the kids and every spring they'll see the cherry blossoms. And maybe it will soften the harshness of the soil that has to be replaced, the buildings that are all gone, the pile and the mass, cars and garbage that are still sitting there. And that's what we did on Monday. I think it was last Monday. We went to the prefecture that was hit. If you look at the map, it was kind of like north in a little cove area, right? Mm-hmm. And the priest was amazing. And the ironic thing is that, the tombs were turned over, but the water came just to the steps of the temple. So maybe the temple was spared because the people who were left would need to go to the temple. They would need that priest in the time of their, they go there and they talk to the priest. He feeds them whatever he's got. So he's taking donations too, And those were the three places. And the kids are kids. They're little kids. They're grade school kids. They do all the things that little kids do. The little boys are rambunctious. Life goes on for them, but it's just harder. So don't forget about them, and commerce. Buy things from there. Keep people working. You're going to buy anyway. Might as well buy from the areas that were hit, where the stores are still open. Just keep the money moving so people can recover and get back on their feet. And when I spoke to my friend from Fukushima, with tears in her eyes, she has no job, and she was glad to see me, but she started talking about the earthquake, and she was still emotional about it. But then afterwards, she gave me some mochi with walnut in it. Personally, I'm still looking for the mochi with the ice cream, but it's all right. But anyway. She gave that to me, and then she said, it's not contaminated, though. And I'm thinking, oh, my God. And there's a thing where nobody goes up north at all. And, hey, look, I only read what's in the paper, and the paper got all them, the dark circles and, where it's all circled and stuff. But, those people can't be isolated and cut off, It's not like, where they live, they could have radiation issues. But I don't think you can catch radiation from shaking somebody's hand or giving them a hug. You know what I mean? So don't discount that. Don't isolate these people. Because, I don't know, a lot of you people look Japanese. Don't shut out your own. You know what I mean? Bruce Springsteen has that song, We Take Care of Our Own. So, and Japanese definitely are like that. So don't be frightened of that, because the only way to get back up again is to include them. Inclusive societies win. The exclusivity of societies have weak legs. Those will fall. And now I sound like a political person. I'm sorry. But I think trees are good. And scientists who study the earth, maybe there's a way to work with the earth. We all need that. I say this as my own country sends 2 boats to go start drilling in the pole, in the northern poles, in waters that, God forbid, there's a spill. It's over. There's nothing they can do. I think oil is a thing of the past. I think the nuclear energy everybody's trying to harness, maybe that doesn't work. Maybe we got to go greener. There are great minds in Japan, great minds who study the earth. And I think maybe we got to take them all together, and maybe everybody from all over the world, because this planet is stretching and moving and doing things, and we got to be in with it. We can't make believe that it doesn't do anything and we control it, because we don't control this action. It controls us, and we got to get with it, to prevent further heartache like this. That's all. And I just, on a human level, I think that, if you could buy something from one of those northern prefectures that's not going to affect you, and you're going to buy it anyway, buy it from Sendai, Buy it from up north somewhere, because you're going to spend your money anyway. That's all. Is that okay? You think that's...
Is it okay if I tell them...
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
だってごめんなさい。The name of the city she visited is Ishinomaki City. And also that elementary school is 石巻市立の、大街道小学校351人の生徒がいます。
351 students are there at the elementary school.
Yes, and also that instrumental music store named 猿小屋楽器店。
猿小屋
music store。それから I'm sorry, this is very delicate matter, so let me explain in Japanese and she will translate. 瓦礫で新しい防潮林を作るとか、それからそこの土地をかさ上げしてそこにまた新しい土を持ってくるという話をちょっと彼女が触れましたが。
Yes, regarding the debris that's left a lot in those stricken areas, talking about making a seawall to raise the soil.
それはとてもデリケートなマターで、
It's a very delicate matter.
そこの土地の人たちは、例えば石巻もそうですが、一日も早くそのジャンクというか瓦礫を処理してよそに持って行ってほしいと思っていらっしゃいます。
So the people over there, they really want all the debris gone as soon as possible.
でもその瓦礫受け入れがなかなか今日本はうまくいっておりません。なぜならばそこには放射能だけではなくていろんな他の毒になるものがあるんではないかというケアがあって、それを受け入れてないところがたくさんあるし、また断っておられるところもあります。
So maybe many people, many areas all over Japan, they're not accepting all the debris to come to their city because there's a lot of problems, not only nuclear radiation, but many problems of pollution.
それでそういうものをそこで作ったらいいじゃないかということに対してすごく反発もあるんですけれども、でも全部国がまだちゃんと基準値を決めてないし、県でもきちっと測ってない、両方が人がまだ信頼できる数値を出していないために、そこが非常にうまくいっていないので、できることであれば全部を業者任せでそういった瓦礫をよその県に受け入れてもらうということの前に、そこの場所でそれをちゃんと毒性を測って、そこでそういう防潮林を彼女も言ったように作って、もっと頑丈なものを瓦礫によってそこの上に土をいっぱい重ねて、そこにいろんな植林をすることでできるんではないか、そしてかさ上げをすることで土地の雇用も増えるんではないかというアイデアもあるということです。
So there's an idea of making a seawall by the debris instead of spreading it all over the nation, and so we need to really think about how we can do that. But the country hasn't stated a safety scale about the radiation level yet, so we really need to put our heads together.
で、私たちが本当に国民として一番今欲しいと思っているのは、どれほどの 放射能値があるのか、どれほどの毒性があるのか、そしてどうして、そういう土地でそれを活用することができないのかって、ちょっとオブザーバーとして、補足させていただきました。
So we really need to put our heads together, give ideas together to really get rid of the debris, but then we need to see how this nuclear radiated land should be taken care of in the real sense.
Let's move to Q&A. Joël.
Joël Legendre, RTL France. Thank you very much, Cyndi Lauper, for coming. I mean, as you, many of us stayed here to report. And precisely when you said we have to help people to buy things from the north because there are those women who are working hard and men and kids abandoned and we need to help them economically. That's what happened here. I mean, there is some project like East Loop, for example, who give job to women to maintain the stability of the communities. And we've seen that it starts. But your words have major importance. You're saying something like it's not enough. So what would you like to see 1 year after you've been in this issue? What do you see today? What do you think should be done better?
People are just getting back on their feet, and it takes a minute. And I read in the paper how, well, they've been on the dole for a year and, it's time they move on. Where? And will they have a job? So it seems that there are two things to me. There's commerce that needs to happen, and also, again, with the debris, it's very expensive to make landfill, right? And if you look at the Dutch, that whole joint's underwater, really. That's all landfill. Now you got all this stuff. It'd make great landfill. All you need after that is dirt, bury it, and then everything gets raised up a little. It seems to me you need to raise things up. Why not use that stuff and bury it and make the land higher? Or make a seawall. Except that I was thinking about the seawall, and since you're in 4 islands, you never know which way it's going to come. And I also read today in the paper that in 800 and something, there was a similar tsunami and earthquake.
Yeah.
And they, unfortunately, they found out about it too late. But, that's what I mean about getting those scientists together. And, a lot of people are very tense about not really knowing what the deal is with the Fukuoka, the power plant. Now, a lot of people, Fukushima, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. I've been to Fukuoka. I played there too. No, a lot of people don't know, and they just look at the paper and they see all the circle spots and everybody gets intent. But there's no real clear, all that's come out is that it hasn't been really clear. That nobody said anything that made it really clear about what the heck is going on. Now, I agree with Reiko because I saw it and I saw the piles of garbage thinking, back at home, we have a place on a little island off of Massachusetts, and it's not really mine. My husband's mom and father, and he grew up there. And they had to build a seawall. Well, it was expensive to get stuff to put on top of that to make the wall strong. And what Reiko was telling me is there's a scientist, very reputable, that was talking about making a seawall and planting trees on top of it because the trees would hold it. And I heard talk about cherry blossom trees. I think that's a good idea because it'll bloom for them, for the people that you lost every year. And there's something that softens that. Color, life, softens the heartache of tragedy sometimes. So, that's what I think. But, I don't live here. It's up to the Japanese people to be able to say, hey, this is what we need, and why are we spreading this stuff around? We don't even know about this stuff, and it's here anyway. Bury it. Make a landfill. Either make the land higher or make a seawall, but why not use it? Everybody's taking their garbage and putting it somewhere else. I think there's something in the garbage that's, useful. That's my thoughts, but I'm not, I'm just a visitor.
Very.
Thank you for coming again. I'm Beryl Tong, One Daily from Taiwan. Wonder whether you can share with us that what made you decide to stay a year ago when you know that Fukushima nuclear power plant is getting worse, and over the past year. It's not only that tourists didn't come to Japan, and also lots of artists, international artists, musicians, and even recently we heard that some paintings, because the museum refused them to go to Fukushima because of the fear. And what do you think? And what should Japan or Japanese government do to ease those fears? Thank you.
Again, I'm not Japanese. And I think it's not up to me to say, but if I was an outsider, which I am, I would say, well, what should the Japanese government do? They should come clean with what the real deal is, so people know what the heck is really going on. Because when you don't know, you're fearful, and you feel powerless. Information is power. And excuse me 1 minute, because I just wanted Reiko to comment on that seawall thing and that scientist, because I forgot his name.
Okay. 私もこの瓦礫の処理については実は受け売りでして、宮脇明とおっしゃる横浜国立大学の名誉教授83歳になられる方がいらっしゃいます。
Akira Miyawaki is a professor in the Yokohama University, and he's 83 years old.
プロフェッサーじゃなくて名誉教授です。Honorary Professor of 横浜国立大学。はい、すみません。
He's an honorary professor of Yokohama University, and he's 83 right now.
で、その方が何冊かもうそういう本を出してらして、日本に一番木を植えた専門家です。その彼がおっしゃってるのは、その松の木が全部津波で倒れてしまって、そしてたった一本残った松を奇跡の松と言ってとても喜びましたが、やはりそれは津波は押してくる力も大きいけれども、まず何よりも引く時の力が大きい。
So he has a few books on putting the trees to the areas that were devastated, but he found that the trees were washed away, and a lot of pine trees were washed away, but there was one miracle pine tree that was left there. It was called the miracle pine tree. But what is really scary is that the tsunami itself, when it comes, is very dangerous, but when it heals, when it goes back into the ocean, that is the most dangerous part. Very powerful part.
It's very, very powerful. その時にあらゆるものを流し海にまた戻してしまわない。
Oh, the undertow. Yeah.
So it sucks everything back to the ocean. That was very, very, very powerful.
それでそういうアイディアがあって、それはとてもいいなと私も思っていて、そういう発信を私自身もしていますし、今回彼女がマサチューセッツのそういう経験からもそういうことを言い出したんで、そうよねっていう話になって、私たち本当に科学者ではないので。
What she read about the Massachusetts.
だからデリケートなマターだと申し上げました。
But of course, it's a very delicate matter.
Ms. Lauper, can you elaborate a little bit more about the question asked by Beryl Tong?
I thought I did. I'm sorry. What
made you decide to stay last year?
Oh, well.
And the paranoia about
Well,
radiation.
I was watching the news, and I was very much in touch with my manager in the States. And my tour manager, who is very responsible and very professional, also was in touch with the State Department to find out exactly what the dangers were, and we were in no danger. We were not in Sendai. We were not in Fukushima. We were in Tokyo for a few days, and then we went to Osaka. So I did not feel like I was in danger. Why did I stay? Many reasons, 2 reasons, big reasons. One, when I heard them sing True Colors, see, when I first came here in '83, they took, it's typical, record company. And plus, I must have looked like, a big heathen. I must have been scary. I'm sure I was scary to a lot of people. And I, of course, was I felt like I had my war paint on and I was going to change things for women. That was very much in my mind. And when I came out with Girls Just Want to Have Fun, I made sure that every different nationality that I could would be in that video, singing a song to me, which was about entitlement. But when I came here, they changed it to high school danceteria to take the power away, I guess. Or maybe they thought that if they said, what it was really about, that would scare people. I don't know. But I complained about that afterwards when we were doing True Colors, because I said, listen, this is a great healing song. What are you going to change this one to? And I had this wonderful A&R, actually he was my product manager, and he was wonderful, Mr. Terry Tatsumi. And he was the man responsible. He told me everyone would know what this song means. And so when I got here, through Kyoto, ironically, Mr. Arashida had brought me over, and I came first before Michael. But I played here, and I played in Tokyo, and when I sang True Colors at the end, everyone sang back, like I said in the beginning, and I heard their accent. And also, when I landed, the guys from Kyoto, Koji, Reiko's son, Yukawa, Koji Yukawa. No, not his name.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. His name?
Yes. Is Yuki.
Oh, Yuki?
Yuki.
Tamura?
Yuki.
Yeah, this time Yuki Tamura.
Yeah, Yuki.
But he was
Not Koji. Koji, no. Yuki. Koji was like his mentor, but Yuki, who is Reiko's son and also works at Kyoto, was so professional in how he handled things, and they've got us. I was in a military base, and they got us, and we went to the airport, the local airport, and I saw all the people in sleeping bags and in makeshift sleeping bags, and I saw the way people were to each other and how quiet and graceful everyone was trying to care for each other. And, in Japan, everybody has this, there's a respect for personal space. And I just thought it was with such grace and dignity. And I went to my hotel, and I was going up to my room, my suite, and I saw people sleeping on the floor on sleeping bags because they couldn't get back because everything stopped in Tokyo. So I almost felt like, I'm going downstairs, I'm going to ask an Obachan if she wants to sleep in my bed. I don't, And then I thought, well, you can't really share a room with her because you're going to scare her. So, and maybe they might be frightened. So I went back upstairs and I thought about it, and I watched the news and I heard President Obama. And I honestly kind of trust him because he's one of the few presidents that when he speaks doesn't sound like double talk, is very clear. Usually the other guys are like, you feel like they're playing Monty, but at least he was clear. And I talked to my crew and I talked to everybody and I said I'd like to stay because I felt, like I said in the beginning, it would be a good distraction. And if music is truly healing, then let's see, let's put it to the test here. And if I left, then what would True Colors have meant anyway? And how much of a healing song is that if I came singing that and then I hightailed it out of here the minute it looked a little scary, The other bands, I understand, but my history goes back with this country for a long time. longer than some of them even been out of school. That's why I stayed.
Another question from our journalist colleagues. Are you a journalist?
Okay.
Please. Please come and ask the question.
My name is Naoki Yamaguchi, freelance. I heard Ms. Cyndi Lauper had been working at a Japanese restaurant in New York City.
Yeah,
So,
1982.
and now, Japanese, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs seems to be planning to take Japanese cuisine, culture, and chefs to over the world, soft power policy. They are planning. So
they're planning to take the Japanese cuisine all over the world?
Yes.
Well, listen, I don't know if you ever heard about Nobu, but that's really popular. And it's really fancy. And it's everywhere. And it's very expensive too, yes. Go easy on that, what do you call the caviar when they bring the tuna tartare. Go easy. But, I think Japanese cuisine is really delicious. It's funny, the food. I was just with Reiko last night, and we came back from the gig, and there was this like really cute little shop, and I said, "Yeah, let's just get some sake," because Reiko always told me that sake is good for your skin. So I said, "Let's find out. Let's go have a skin treatment."
Fugu no hireshiを飲みました。
It's a blowfish.
Yeah, fugu hot sake.
Thank you very much.
Another question. Madame. Or mademoiselle.
中古島田フリーランス。Thank you for coming Japan and thank you for keeping our promise with us. すいません、ここからは日本語で。シンディさんは今回被災地の方を訪れていただいて、非常にそういったシンガーとしてではない活動もたくさんされていたということで非常に感動しました。でも実際は、また今ジャパンツアーで、各地を回られていて、やはり私たち日本人はシンディさんの歌を聴いて本当に癒されて、元気をもらっています。
I tried last night.
昨日頑張りましたけど。
で私がその中でとても感動したのは、シンディさんは今回数々のヒットソングの他に、忘れないわという日本語の歌を、日本語で歌われてましたよね。
忘れないわ。
忘れないわ、yeah. That was my big number at Miho.
はい。
日本でよく歌ってました。
Yeah, I started a little group. Yeah, Cyndi and the Oshibodiettes.
シンディ&オシボリエツというバンド名を当時美穂という日本食で下積みの時代に働いた時に歌いました。
はい、で本当にそういった、日本語でのそういう歌を披露していたことはいただいたことはすごい感動的だったんですが、他にもそういった日本語のレパートリーはあるんでしょうか。またそういった曲を今後日本でリリースされる予定があればぜひ伺いたいと思います。
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, I started to think about that song, and I tried to make it modern.
ちょっと現代風にアレンジしようと思ったんですけど。
And because of the words,
言葉も。
I mean, I'm not sure because I think I know what I'm saying.
多分私自分自身が何
But I don't know if it's very, very sentimental. That's why I tried to make the music not sentimental, so that it's just like if you were singing True Colors and you made it like, boom, 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 true, it'd be too much, So I tried to do the opposite. But yeah, I met with a producer. I love dance music. So I'm probably going to work with some a Japanese producer from here to make a combination. I think, we all travel so much, and I'm here a lot, so I would like to sing in the language. I'm not great at it, but, I'm sure there's a combination I can do.
I have a question, Cyndi Lauper, about all the paranoia concerning the radiations, Fukushima, the food. You encourage people to consume products from the Tohoku, but I think they should also maybe consume products from the Fukushima region. It's not as bad as people sometimes think. What do you think?
Well, honestly, I had some sake from there. It was pretty awesome. Good for my skin, too. And, I did an interview with a guy named Kutch. Kutchy. See, I had a brother, Butchie, and his name was Kutchy, so, I kind of felt like, hey, little camaraderie. Yeah, Gucci. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right, Gucci. And I had a brother, Butch. So I kind of felt, so he brought me, in the middle of the interview, he brought some hero sake from Fukushima. But Fukushima is known for their sake. And obviously that was made before the meltdown. But it was really delicious. And there are some products that are fine. And that's what I'm saying. Do your research. It'd be nice if the government was a little more forthright about what the heck is really going on. That's
Please
all.
Continue.
Yeah. No, just so that, people know what the heck is okay to buy and what isn't, I don't even know. But I do know that my friend was so, she was like, it's not contaminated. And I looked at her and I thought, oh my God, give me that candy. I have a sweet tooth. And I started eating it. I hugged her, because I think that Fukushima is very isolated right now. And whatever it is, you got to get to the bottom of this and fix it, because you got part of your population there. Fukushima was a very big and powerful city. A lot of commerce went through there. You can't have a crippled city. I'm just saying. Listen, we got a lot of issues over in the States, too, so, it's all over, New Orleans was, I couldn't even believe it when I watched New Orleans. I was sitting there going, are you kidding me? Where is everybody? Where's the president? Why isn't the president on the television right now? Why isn't he taking care of this? And, and then he goes there, stands at Jackson Square and said, hey, I had many good times here. I was like, yeah. But, education is a good thing. And that was a guy who really made me think about how important education was, because he was a C student. Obama was an A student. You couldn't get into Columbia Law unless you had great grades. So, education's important. But that's another thing. Education. Educate us about what's happening in Fukushima so that the people aren't isolated. Information is power. You need that. You need the right information.
Right information, right.
Miss Cyndi Lauper, your frankness is also power. It's great to have a lady like yourself who doesn't mind to play openly about politics and who cares so much about Japan. Miss Lauper has to go. Thank you very, very much for coming here.
Yeah, I got to catch a train.
Okay. I give you a 1-year honorary membership card. Please come back again to our club when you come.
Thank
and
you.
I want to give also. No, this is for
Reiko.
For Reiko, and for yourself also another
We're
card.
honorary members now. Wow. We could sit out there and ask everybody else questions?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so if I come back, I'll just ask somebody else a question. All right. Anyway, thank you for coming. Please, please, please take care of yourselves. Thank you, George. Thank you. Thank you. And I didn't mean to be so frank. You asked me a question. The one thing, though, everybody says, oh, why'd you stay? But the bottom basic thing is, you're walking along and somebody trips and falls in front of you. What are you supposed to do? Stop and help them up or step over them? I was raised to stop and help them back up again. Have a great day.
Please keep seated. Keep seated until our guest leaves the room. Thank you very, very much, Cyndi Lauper. Thank you very much.
George. George, my Goomba, he's from Switzerland.
Thank you.
Have a sake from me, from Fukushima. It's pretty good.